Hey, how we doing, guys? It is October 14th, Thursday, 1 p.m., and I appreciate you being here for Lunch Talk. So we have a couple special guests here today, and I'm excited to get into this new series that we are calling 11. Well, it's more of like a contagious leadership movement, but it's 11 things that every leader should know. So if you caught last week's show, we actually kind of got into it. It was something that we were working on, and uh, after the show, hold on, looking, try to help one of our guests get on. But as we kind of finished up the show, I realized, wow, this is going to be a better topic than I originally thought. So I looked at the team. We talked through it. I spoke to a couple other folks that we've got some relationships with, and they said, this is great. One individual, he'll actually be on next week. You might know him, Jared Wallard. He will be a guest speaker, and we'll be keynoting him next week on the show. But he said, this country and our industry is definitely, especially in our industry, is seeing a deficit of leadership, and I thought that was powerful. And he said, if there's a way that I can be a part of something that's helping that, then I want to do it. So anyways, let's just do a quick check here real quick. Donnie, are you working on this? Yeah, we've got your mic is hot too, so just so you know. Oh, okay. We've got a little bit of audio and video issues, but I want to go ahead and get some introductions going, and let's bring in our guests. So first things first, I want to introduce Krista Moreland. Krista, thank you very much for being a part of Lunch Talk today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to get into the things we're going to chat about today.
Yeah, absolutely. So you and I, we've known each other for some time now. I think we're getting close to a year, right? We met at the end of last year.
Yep.
So for those who don't know, so Krista Moreland is she's definitely a powerhouse in, from watching the things that she has done. She's a speaker, a coach. She's an author. This is a CEO. I love having this type of personality, Chris. I love having women like you in this type of atmosphere, because you know what? I don't think that enough women feel the confidence and to be able to do this. And that is what I love about what you do, because you specifically work with women and coaching them, and you empower them in what you do in your business. So I'm so pumped for you to be here. Thank you for saying yes to this series. And just so you guys know, Krista will really be my co-host through the month of October as we get through our series. It's a 3-part series of the 11 things every leader should know. So
yeah. Thank you. That's quite the introduction. I'm really, really excited to be here. I feel like in the business world, we can relate home life to business life and business life to home life. And bringing that different perspective or that different insight is really exciting to me. And I think it just synergistically makes the world turn in a better direction. And leadership is across the board, right? We can have leadership at home. We can have leadership in our business. We can have leadership within ourselves, within our children. And so it touches every facet of our world. And I am excited to bring a woman's perspective to that and just kind of either open up your eyes to what may be going on this side of the house, and also encourage you in what I see in my own business and how that leadership and these staples that we're going to talk about today really transform how you lead and guide the people that you're in charge of.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you. Yeah, thank you for being here. Let me go ahead. We have another guest here too, and it looks like I may have made an error in getting this over to him. So I'm going to give him a second. You guys know him, Sam Tasker. He's been in our industry, within the renewable energy industry, for some time now. We're going to go ahead and give him a second to jump in. And when he gets in, we'll go ahead and get this conversation going. So if you paid attention to last week, one of the things that we talked about was learning to brand yourself. And we're going to get into that a little bit, but I'm going to give you the 11 topics that we're going to be discussing over the series this month. Okay. And real quick, little, I guess, a plug. If this is the first time that you are watching Lunch Talk, do us a favor, please, and drop a hashtag live in the comments. Looks like we already got a few getting into that. We've got Dave Reese. I think you've been there since day one, brother. Thank you very much. He said diversity 101. So drop a hashtag live while my my wonderful director, producer, audio, video guy is working on fixing a few little things. So it's the way it goes. Let me go ahead and drop this up here. If you are not a part of our community, this is how we conversate with you, and we want you to be a part of that. So text lunch, hashtag lunch. It really doesn't matter. We do the hashtag. It's easier for you not to screw it up, but we're going to get it either way. And that is the 316-799-8052. Become a part of our community. It allows us to let you know that we're going live. And also at the end of the series, we're going to be giving away something we've worked on and working on right now, and our team's putting a lot of work into it. And that is going to be a full PDF on this, on all 11 rules, all the different links and references to this, books that will help, and ways for you to really improve yourself as a leader, and ways for you to share this with your team and just make yourself better. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into that. Again, hashtag live. Let us know if you're watching, and we appreciate it. So, okay, so let's run through these. Krista, the 11 things every leader should know. Number 1, learn how to brand yourself. Number 2, mentor to be mentored. And I'll get into that a little bit. It's about studying others and working through some stuff here. Stay balanced. Number 3, stay balanced between past, present, and future. Number 4, keep it super simple. Number 5, question everything and sweat the small stuff. I know that sounds backwards, but I'll explain. Number 6, okay, follow the 24-hour rule. 7, bad times create innovation. 8, embrace change to never stop expanding. 9, it takes time, but stay aggressive. 10 is no one does it alone. Help is not optional. And 11 is make mistakes. So some of these may seem like common sense. We get it. But like any of us, we need to be reminded from time to time of the importance of this. And also getting other people's perspectives, which is why we have Krista here today. All right, so Krista, you are a self-made entrepreneur. I would like you just to give a quick introduction to our group, a little bit about who you are and how you're empowering women. If you can, I think that would be great for our audience to know a little bit about you.
Yeah, I would love to. So I run and own my own business. It's called K.I.S.S Macro, and I help busy moms on the go find their confidence, lose weight, and step into their power so that they can lead and be leaders within their home from a space that really empowers them and allows them to pour into their families in ways that they don't even know that they can pour into their family. And so I focus a lot of my time and energy on building other people up, helping them to see their strengths and not focus on their weaknesses so that they can lead their family or be leaders in their business and really step into their power and level themselves up. My heart's purpose, my soul's mission is to fill up these women empower them, encourage them, be that person in their life so that they can learn how to do that for their littles. And now, Rigo, when we do that, we are impacting generations to come. I just happen to have my vehicle to influence their world happens to be nutrition, right? And so little do they know when they hire me that the vehicle I'm using is nutrition and health and weight loss, but it truly does completely transform their entire world, because nutrition is just my vehicle to get in there. And then once I'm in there, I can show them how exceptionally incredible people they can be and how they can change the thermostat and the environment within their world so that they impact generations to come through their kiddos.
It's awesome. I love it, Krista. Thank you. And you know what? It's always a little thing.
It has to be.
It's always a small item that makes the greatest impact and change in our lives. So, and while we were going through that perfect timing, we're now being joined by our other guest today, Sam Tasker. Sam, thank you for being on the show.
Hi, Rigo. Rigo, when I saw you, I was thinking you might be in Europe at a discotheque several hours ahead of us.
We're jealous, aren't we?
Well, you know what? Here, I don't know. Should we change the color? I can really get this thing popping. I can get it. I can really get it going. We're having fun, that's for sure. And you know, getting the opportunity to be creative and start to invest in ourselves into this area has probably been by far one of the most exciting things I think I can say that I've ever been a part of in my career. It's been exciting to do this. And that is really one of the things I wanted to get into. So Sam, you had the opportunity to look at some of this information ahead of time. And that's because I really wanted you and Krista to see where I was going. Okay. This is important for me as I look at young people, and, you know, as a father of 6, and 3 of those children have entered into that age, they're adults, they're starting to build up. And you know this, those who not, you know, don't know, I'll tell you right now, 2 of them are a part of our company. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching them grow. So this is becoming more and more of a passion for me to develop leaders. And as I'm having a conversation with a mutual friend of ours and who'll be a guest next week, Jared Wallard, on this, I'm hearing that same passion, and I'm finding that from so many others. And I realize, you know what? There's been no better time than now to start to help others become powerful leaders, especially at young ages, when they have access into this information age. That they're going to move so much faster than we ever did. And we moved faster than those before, but it's like exponentially faster. Right. And so I want to get into some things right away with you, and that is the mentor to be mentored. And so let me share with you what my thought was on that. In a new leadership role, or even in some level where we're building out a team, building a group, trying to create some new level of innovation. When you are doing this, it's so easy to start to become overwhelmed and burned out, and you start to feel as if, you know, maybe this isn't what you needed to do. And you start to create this levels of stress and depression. And especially if you have personalities like mine, Krista and I, we laugh, we took the same test. We're exactly the same. We're both 8s, wing 7, whatever. Right. So we're very identical. She's the boy version of Rigo Murillo, or maybe I'm the girl version of Krista Moreland. We'll see.
It's true.
But she's just got better hair.
I do.
But when I looked at this, what I have found in my personal life, and as I started to study others, Sam, you and I, we're constantly trading books, you know, back and forth. Oh, you got to read this book. You got to read that book. When we study other people's lives, we start to get fed through their lessons. And most importantly, when I have found for me, and this is what my question is for you, when I go and pour into someone else and I start to teach, and I keep bringing this topic, or every time I do it, that level of mentorship into them, it starts to teach me. It starts to mentor me. And what you get from them as they start to speak and their perspective, if you're listening, it's crazy, especially what I've noticed with young people. Like, I learn so much from them in just the way they process. And so to me, this is such an important part of leadership, where a lot of times I feel as leaders, we're feeling that we have to have the answers. And I don't think that's it. What's your thoughts?
Big topic. And I think I'm resonating around a few areas that that can help narrow it down. The big thing that comes to mind for me for leadership is talking about values, and as you're talking about youngsters, when you're parenting, values become something that you're thinking about much more often, because there's these other people in your life you have to take care of. And these other people, these youngsters, children, they're sponges. They're going to absorb whatever's around them. And nowadays, you mentioned that as well, the speed. The speed doesn't have to be fast if we take some of these things away from them that maybe aren't contributing to values. So when I see a youngster walking down the street with a rubber neck, staring at something in his hand with some TikTok garbage, and I'm a parent and I don't know him, do I walk by him or do I talk to him?
Yeah.
I talk to him. I'm going to give him a little a little nudge that doesn't make the youngster defensive, but gets him to think about what he's doing. Like, hey, you're gonna run into a tree. But what are the
figuratively and literally, right?
Like, yeah, and exactly. And what are the values that youngsters are getting from devices? That we're getting from devices. I've noticed. I like to play a game when I'm out in public, of looking at who can't put their phone down, and I profile them. And I'm stereotyping, and it's easy to do it nowadays because I think our generation has started to identify that sort of thing as either rude, distracting, or otherwise unproductive, and use it when you need it. Our youngsters haven't figured out. We've got to impart the values in them. We've got to slow them down, as we've learned to slow ourselves down. In a short span of the world, about 20 years, this thing has come into our world and made us all feel like everything's fast, when in reality, it's just as screwed up and slow, fast, good, bad, as it's always been. But our perception is there. So that's the other thing, Rigo. Rigo taught me, I think you exposed me to Patrick Bet-David talking about lens and language. And so when we talk about leadership, we're talking about values, and we're talking about how we see things and how we say things. And I think that's a framework that if you offer to somebody, can start some discussions about how you see things, who you put yourself around, and asking and talking about values. When you do that, you're leading, you're stepping back, you're looking at how you live your life, what's important for you and the people around you, and you create an atmosphere conducive to exploring the topic. Then the book is open, and it's a giant endless talk. It's an endless topic that needs to be a part of your team at work and your family at home.
I love that.
That's a frame. It's a framework, because there's so many things, right? We could go on and on.
Yeah. Can I piggyback off of what you just said? So I think what struck me and what was really super powerful is that, I'm a 2-sport college athlete. I played 2 sports in college. I played volleyball and softball. And what we know about young people and how people learn is monkey see, monkey do, right? So it's important as leaders that we are setting the thermostat in our leadership, and that we are living what we're saying, right? Because I can remember being a young athlete. I never really knew why I was doing what I was doing, but I would always try to mock and model what my coaches and my mentors were doing, because eventually I would find my own rhythm. I would find my own framework, but I needed to borrow their framework first, right? So when you talk about setting pillars, and values, sometimes we have to start with somebody else's values because we don't know, because we're new at it. And then once we see their values, we can start to mold those values into ours and they can become our own, right? And so in doing that, we are leading and we're setting up future leaders and we're giving them pillars that they can then model and take and make their own. And now they are leading in their own authentic way as well, right? Because we don't want to always copy somebody and be inauthentic in our leadership, but sometimes we have to borrow those until we figure out and see how it fits into our world and how we can step into our power in that leadership. And so I think what you said is so important. As a leader, I need to know what my values are and I need to model those because people are watching me and I'm setting the blueprint for their leadership. And that's really important, right? Leaders creating leaders. And if you don't know what your values are, you don't know what those pillars are, it's really hard to lead from a powerful place. And the same thing goes at home, right? Whether you're a business owner or a mama, if you don't know what your values are as a mom, then it's really hard to set that blueprint for your kiddos because it's chaotic. You're like, I don't know, one day it's important to me, the next day it's not. And our kids won't thrive off of that. And neither will our future leaders or business owners or people that we need to step up within our business. That's really, really good. I love what you just said. So important. Oh, Rigo, I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
There you
I
are.
said
That's a DJ foul.
that was actually me. That was all me. I was moving some things around, so I decided to take over the audio for a second. That's why I'm not supposed to do this. Sorry, Donnie. Like I said, I'm trying to take notes. You guys were both just dropping nuggets. I'm just glad that this is always recorded. I can go back to this. Listen, this is powerful. We had a client down this week, and last night we went out. We spent some great time strategizing together. And last night we took the client out, and we ended up having some conversations with a single mother. And it's interesting what you were saying, Krista, what you were saying, Sam, on this. And as we started to listen to her look at where she was in her life and how she was seeing things and how she's needing to be strong and the type of parent, she co-parents with her ex-spouse and raises her daughter and her son. And, it just brought to me more of the realization, just like you said, Sam, it's a process. Mm-hmm. And you're right. These children, our children and the young people, they have tools that are so powerful that they can go either way. I'm trying to figure out the right words to say this, but when we were young, the mistakes that we could make, we would make those mistakes. Very few people would know about it. And we could course correct.
Yeah,
we can get our lives back on track. We had, we would have a little more opportunity to get ourselves right. And so just as powerful as we have these tools to get out and grow, create leadership, these tools are just as powerful, I think, in a destructive place to distract us, which is what I got from you, Sam, really is this area of distraction and how we can create this process and framework, like you said.
It's community, right? We've learned this as we've aged, that you are who you put yourself around. And there's a lot of great literature about that. If you're in a small community, 50 years ago without social media, you are part of your small community. Today, that stuff that's coming into our face more with more devices and more media is part of our community, whether you like it or not. You can't do too much about it. So how do you help someone find the good content, the influencers on social? Because it's a lot harder to figure out who some of these folks are until you're exposed to it. And so when we talk about mentoring is about layering, and you're always going to have someone who needs your help and someone who's helping you. The whole lifespan, our whole humanity is about that, right? And that continuous improvement. So part of the topics of mentoring is getting people exposed to other great leaders, not being a perfect leader and knowing it all. It's that lens and language someone should look to. And when you find those values, how do you get that person around someone who maybe does that better than you, that can help that person get more curious and more interested, be it a career, profession, a hobby, or a way of life. And so that's to me, to close out the mentoring topic. And before I have to drop, I think an important way of thinking about who do you put yourself around? How do you keep those outside influences that are negative, like the news? It's not even TikTok, it's the
Right.
news, it's and other stuff. How do you turn that off and bring positive influences into your mentee's life, or into, or from your protege? So hopefully helpful for a mentoring discussion.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so good.
Sam, I do appreciate that you take the time, even if it's sometimes long, sometimes short, but I am always grateful to get your perspective, your wisdom, and that you're just a part of this. And you're, to me, you're doing exactly what it is that we're doing, that I'm saying, right? Mentors mentor. To be mentored ourselves, to grow, we have to find ways to continue to grow others. To me, it's an obligation for growth. It's just, you can't grow without it. It's the water, in my personal opinion, it's the water to any living thing that needs to grow, and we do ourselves a massive injustice when we are not taking what has given us that knowledge, that power, and that wisdom, and reinvesting it into others. So anyways, with that, I'm going to go ahead and give you the opportunity to gracefully bow out. Donnie, can we give Mr. Sam Tasker a round of applause? All right.
Oh wow, you have a crowd back there.
Yeah, we have a whole live studio audience. You don't know it yet. You don't know it yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. And
Thanks,
thanks for the short opportunity since I have to run. Krista, great to meet you. And you guys
too.
keep it up.
So good. So good.
Take care, Sam. Thanks a lot.
Bye,
We'll
guys.
talk to you again soon.
Rigo, one of the things that I want to kind of touch base on that too is, something that you mentioned was studying other people and letting other people influence and impact us. And it's funny because I was on my coaching program bright and early this morning. We meet at 6:00 in the morning. And one of the things that came up was imposter syndrome from looking at other people and what they're doing to get inspiration. A lot of times when we do that, it makes us feel envious of what other people are doing, and it makes us feel less than, right? So when we start looking out at what other people are doing for that mentorship, for that leadership, for that example, we can start to feel imposter syndrome a little bit, right? And so one of the discussions I had with my strong female leaders this morning was like, hey, let's pretend like we're all on a mountain. We're all on a hike. Okay. Let's pretend like it's Mount Everest. So it's a hard one. It's not like a little, let's run up and run down. Okay. You are the person above. You are serving people that need you to grab their arm and pull them up. And that's where you are. And then I'm one level and layer ahead of you. And I am grabbing your arm and I'm pulling you up. And my mentor, my coach, is one level ahead of me. And he's grabbing my arm and he's pulling me up.
It's a barrel of monkeys.
It is.
It's a barrel of monkeys.
If we could all just be okay with being a barrel of monkeys, then you would be like, oh, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, because the person that I'm mentoring needs exactly what I have. I don't need to be the person I see on Instagram. I don't need to be the person with a bazillion followers. I need to be exactly who I am to pull those people up to the next step. And then somebody's going to pull me, and then I'm going to pull them. And it's a beautiful system if we get out of our own heads about it. Right. So,
okay. It's great. You're absolutely right. And I love it. I don't know if you did this on purpose, but this is actually a perfect transition.
Let's go
over to rule number 1.
Yes.
All right. And rule number 1 is this, right? Learning to brand yourself. This is so significant.
It is.
It is so important as a rule. And one of the things that I think, especially now, if you're in, I'm Gen Z, Gen X, the kids are Gen Z. We were just having this conversation where I was trying to understand who they are. So I'm a Gen Xer. Krista, you're a Gen Xer?
Yeah, Gen X.
For us, I mean, you look like you're 22.
Well, thank you. Lots of Botox, okay?
There it is. I've learned that little tip from my wife. Thanks, babe.
So kind.
Yeah, what is that?
So kind.
But I think with our age group, and I think especially in certain fields.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as we start to get into especially like, I'm in the renewable energy space. We're in an industrial space, and I think I've seen probably the largest lack of understanding how to self-promote and brand within this industry. At least this has been one I've been in almost 15 years, but I've seen a little others. I've looked at the mining and oil, gas, some of these industries where there's crossover because there's a lot of similarities, and a lot of the customers and clients we work with serve other industries. So we're starting to learn more and more about these other industries. What I am finding the most is the lack of understanding on how this is a long game now.
Yeah.
And and so one of the things that Sam had mentioned, he said, this is where we're going, right? He talked about the technology, like it's not about removing us completely from this, because this is where it's at, but it's about understanding and how to build a framework around how we're going to mentor our children, for instance, as parents. But this goes with everybody else. So, excuse me, you're talking about this imposter syndrome, and you're right. And here's where my opinion is, and I want to hear a little bit more about yours, because you have done a phenomenal job at self-branding.
Yeah.
And I think you've really come to understand that as a business owner, especially in the work that you do, because you're having to grab the attention of women in working roles from the lowest level to the executive.
Yeah.
Women that have taken a full-time role as a mother, raising their children and family, caretaker. I mean, we've talked about it. You work with women literally in every spectrum.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep. Top brain surgeons in Colorado, down to a mama of brand new babies. And, this is their first day, baby was born 2 weeks ago. So yeah. Okay. So then this is perfect for what I'm trying to get to is even, in our field and in our professions, we're entering into an era. And so as a leader, please understand, this is where I'm going, is we're entering into an era where influence and the ability to be influenced is going to be primarily within a digital space. Would you agree with that, Krista? 100%. I think 2020 was the nail in the coffin of all of that happening, and it just expedited it. It was coming. I have been in the internet space this is my 7th year of coaching, and I've never done it anywhere else. And when 2020 hit, all of a sudden people were like, Zoom? What's Zoom? And I'm like, y'all, I've been in Zoom for 4 years.
Yeah. We actually talked about that on the last show. I'm like, it went from 10 million users to over 300 million in 30 days. You know that? 30 days.
Insane.
Yeah. All I thought was I was using Zoom for about 3 years prior. I was like, dang it.
I know. They're in my area now.
Dang it. Like, no, I am a horrible investor. I will never do a show on how to invest your money. I will tell you how to protect it.
Yeah.
I will never do a show on how to invest it. Oh, I'm sorry. So Dave Reese says 20 years ago, your personal brand was how you presented yourself in person only. Absolutely.
Totally.
Today's world has now been digitized and anyone can see you in your image. That's exactly right. And you want them to.
Yes.
And what I'm finding is so many folks, they're in development, they're in sales, marketing, they're in a role of leadership. They're in a role of representing their company in a significant position, and they have no way to be seen. Okay. There's no way for you to get to know them as an individual or build a level of trust with them. And this is the thing that honestly, I go bananas over it. There isn't, I don't know if, Krista, if you've ever seen, it's on, I think it's on Peacock, and it is Heart to Heart. So Kevin Hart has done this. Okay, have you ever seen that? Okay.
Yep.
So Kevin Hart is having a conversation with Don Cheadle, and it was powerful. I loved it, and they were talking about the industry of movies and everything else. And Don was talking about how there was a aspiring actor, somebody new, and came up to them actually prior to that show and was like, "Hey, what do I do? How do I get in? Give me some tips. How can I, do better in getting into the industry?" And it was really interesting. Take a look at this. Listen carefully. He goes, "I can't help you." And he goes, "Let me tell you why. You see, when I was getting into this 25 years ago, the skill set came into how you knew how to work a room." So this is just like Dave Reese said. He said, "I didn't get the part because of what I said. I got the part because of how I knew how to work the room before we read." You didn't get, and so Kevin's getting in. He goes, "Absolutely." He goes, we didn't get our roles because of how well we were behind the camera. We got it because we knew how to work the room. It was about how they were going to be able to work with us. We were already actors. We were in here for a reason, right? It wasn't so much about us. It was about, could they work with us and work the room? He goes, "That's changed now."
Yeah.
I don't, now you're sending in videos. Now they're going to check your TikTok. They're going to check your Twitter. They're going to check your Instagram. They're going to check your Facebook. They're going to check all of that. There's probably new stuff out I don't know about. I'm still like Facebook and MySpace rock.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the crazy thing about branding yourself. We lack confidence in who we are, and we show up small when we don't know who we are in our own brand. Branding simply means know who you are. And this goes off of what Sam said earlier. What are your pillars? What are your beliefs? When you know what your pillars are and you know who you are to your core, it's really easy then to brand yourself and to show up. And listen, here's the thing. We are constantly branding ourselves, whether you believe that or not. The stay-at-home mama is branding herself within her family. This is who I am to you in my family, in our family. You are either powerful and strong and a force in your house, or you are reclusing and playing small and being the victim. And that's the brand that you're putting out. So when your kids misbehave or they treat you poorly, it's because your brand is not together in your home. Now, the same thing happens in business or on social media. When you feel powerful and you've got your power stance in your brand, when other people see you, they are attracted to you. They want to be pulled into you.
There it is.
And when your brand is off, guess what?
You're
not attracting your people.
That's exactly right. And you're not attracting, you're not attracting what you need. Okay. Right. And so you're not creating network. You're not developing an opportunity of trust. You're not developing a way of expanding yourself. I mean, your personal brand is the number one value that you could offer an employer.
Yep.
The number one value you can offer to your community.
Yep.
Right. So when you get involved in voluntary, like, so I'm involved with our HOA, and that level of involvement, right, that has given me an opportunity to build my local brand, to build my personal and family brand within my community. Mm-hmm. And because of that, and this was the first time, Krista, with the work that I do, and those of you in renewables, and when you guys get this, you know it, many of us are constantly moving. We have moved, I've told you, over the last 20 years, because of the work I've done, and I've been in industrial this entire time. So whether it was wind energy or it was I've been in power and essentially energy this whole time, 20 plus years. So it was power plants first, and then continued with my education. And then I went into renewable energy. We've moved every 2 years for the last 20 years.
So
Literally.
basically what I hear you saying is Michelle is going straight to heaven.
Oh, yeah. I always told her we have a pass because of her. Like
Right, right.
I totally get that. I am so riding her skirt tails. But yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly right. Every 2 years. Now think about this. I like this was a lesson I learned even beyond my, myself and networking and getting out there. I've not been afraid to do this. It is still scary. Things don't go
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But and you never want to say something dumb and then someone's like, oh, they're gonna look at say something, I don't like what he's got behind his head here, or he's bald, whatever. People are people.
Yeah.
But I started getting involved and started getting myself from a level of again a volunteering, and what happened, the networking started to happen, friendships started to build, investments from people's emotionally and physically, they started investing into me and my family, and I started investing back. And for the first time in nearly 20 years, we've started to develop some of the greatest friendships with our neighbors that I can say I've had. And I can't remember, actually. I don't remember one time in my life I've ever had friends like this kind of level friends, and they're our neighbors.
Right.
Right. That is a product of what we're doing and what I'm doing here and what you're doing with me, how we're bringing this information out to the market. This is going to allow you, the audience, this is the whole goal. All right. You're seeing me as me. You were talking about this earlier, Krista.
Yeah.
I'm being authentic. This is me. And I want you to get to know me. We're developing a level of trust, right?
Yeah. And Rigo, I think that's so important. I think in the past, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like when I was growing up, it was don't be you, be who everybody else thinks that you should be in the role that you're playing. And I think because of social media and because of the insight that we get into people's world, I think authenticity is a word that's overplayed. It's true. But I think now more than ever, our brand needs to be authentic to who we truly are, because those true colors will come out if we don't, right? And I think when we show up as ourselves and we know who we are, I think that is the energy and the pull for everybody else. Before, I remember all the time when I was younger, fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it. Well, that's nobody wants to see that anymore. Nobody wants to see your fake profile with your fake perfect life, with your fake. People want to know, like, what's important to you? What do you struggle with? What are you really good at? And I want to be a part of that community. And that's probably, Rigo, why you're making all of these connections, because you show up here and you say, hey, today we don't have our act together, but guess what? We're going to move forward in messiness, and we're going to move forward without all the things falling into place. And that's what attracts people to you. Like, this guy can do it, and he can do it messy. It gives permission to the next person to show up and do it messy.
That's exactly right. This is where we're at, right? It's right now, right? The authenticity. This is what people want. I think, what actually drove me to start diving back in to LinkedIn. In, normally you see this kind of stuff, on Instagram, YouTube. Now, don't get me wrong. Like those are great mediums.
Yeah.
But what got me was a year ago, we had someone we were working with, and we're connected on LinkedIn. I said, hey, you're on Facebook or anything like that? Like, let's connect there. Oh, I don't connect with work on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? Like, my brain is like, what do you mean?
It's like he's the person, when he makes his plate, it's got all the dividers and his food doesn't touch.
like the baby plates.
Yeah. My mashed potatoes don't touch, my meat and my veggies don't touch, the gravy, nothing touches.
Yeah. So I said, why not? And he was like, well, that's my private life. And I said, are you different? I said, so the guy that I've been working with here, are you a different person? So, are you fake, essentially? And I didn't make a big deal about it, but I thought about this, and I got off the call and I started writing something. It's actually, I was just going to do like a small video on it, on being authentic. It's turning into like a memoir. It's just passionately, I've been pouring so much into it, and I'm not, I want to do something with it, but I'm not done. I can tell.
Yeah.
and it may turn into something bigger, but this is the level of being authentic. And I realized why. You remember that meme that went out that was like my Facebook profile, my
Instagram, my real life.
Yeah, well, it was like my LinkedIn, and it was like my what do they call the app for dating?
Oh, Tinder or
Tinder. Yeah, my Tinder.
It was a sexy photo.
Yeah, and
like
I think they did
LinkedIn.
one from like characters from The Office or something.
Yeah.
It was really funny, right, Donnie? Stanley. Okay, Stanley, not Stanley the comic. Stanley. Stanley. Okay. Thanks, Donnie. But I love. Where would I be without Donnie? Right, Dave? Donnie rocks. Hashtag Donnie rocks. Okay. Donnie with a Y. Just making that clear. But I started to think about this, and I said, okay, do we want to start to create ourselves in a place where we are not the same at every level? Now, that being said, I understand that Facebook as a platform allows you to have more personal elements in it. You're right. There's photos of your family and things like that. But that wasn't why he said that.
Right.
You see, I don't have to be in agreement with everybody that I know and work with at every level of my life to find a common ground that we can build a positive relationship back and forth. I said symbiotic yesterday, and I got crap. They said, just go with win-win. And I was like, I like symbiotic. I think it'll work. So branding yourself to me is an essential, absolutely essential element in growing yourself as a leader, exposing yourself to other leaders, making that connection and network, learning how to do this. Because listen, in 5 years, like there is no option.
No. And I will tell you, a lot of leaders lack confidence. A lot of small businesses lack confidence, right? We do put on the fake it till you make it. And I will tell you, Rigo, that one of the
I gotta write. Go ahead, keep going. I'm gonna write this down. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Write it down, friend. Write it down.
Get it going.
One of the greatest confidence boosters for me to step into my power as a true business owner. This was no longer a side gig. This was no longer what I was doing to make a little extra money. When I decided this is who I am, I stepped into my power. And knowing who you are, knowing your brand, working on your brand, showing up and being willing to put in the time, energy, and effort to understand what your brand is, infuses confidence in you to step into your role. And mama, listen, and there are husbands on here watching, and there are women on here watching. If you feel a lack of confidence in your role, whatever your role may be, a CEO, an executive assistant, a stay-at-home mama, if you feel a lack of confidence in your primary role, it is because you do not know who you are in your brand. Your brand is not complete. And the other thing that I want to say is that takes time. And it's okay for it to take time. But you've got to commit to knowing who you are, what your brand is, and what's important to you.
That's awesome.
When you put in that work, the confidence comes. You can show up in your power and not in your weakness. And that is so important no matter what role you play in your world.
That's awesome. Listen, you're jumping ahead. That's rule number 9.
No.
I'm messing with you.
Catch that. Rewind.
That was powerful. You are absolutely correct.
And
so
listen,
many leaders lack confidence. I
can only say that because I've gone through the trenches. I started my business 7 years ago. My confidence was this big in what I was doing because I didn't know my brand. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I was going.
You know what? You're absolutely right. I want to jump into number 3.
Yeah.
Is this supposed to be a 3-part series? And we're just getting on 3. And so I don't want to go too much longer. We've been really good with the show time, and I've given you a time to commit.
Yep.
I knew this was going to happen with you.
I know.
I knew it.
We can go deep.
4-part series.
Hey, you're the boss of your own show, man.
I'm trying to create a process and something here that's not going like, anyways.
I got you.
Yeah, we're trying to build something that people can count on and enjoy. Okay, staying balanced between the past, present, and future. So this kind of falls into this. Okay, understanding like where you are. Okay, when as leaders, we find ourselves in levels of stress. Step back for a second. Most people in a leadership role, especially within entrepreneurs and C-level type personalities, you're already the type of person who's willing to step into things that others are not. So you're likely going to be the person that is always hardest on yourself.
Yep.
Okay. Right. And do you agree, Kristen?
The 100%.
Okay.
100%. Yes.
You know what I love is that every time we go to do the show, our Wi-Fi goes poo-poo. Right, Donnie? Like, I mean, seriously, it's
like without fail every single time.
Anyways.
And especially whenever you try to go into a solo frame, suddenly the Wi-Fi drops even worse. And then you become a giant pixel.
Maybe the internet world is trying to give me a clue.
A filter. They're
Listen,
like,
Rigo, we're glad Krista's here. Can you just keep her on solo and you stay out? Your studio is not as cool as you think it is. I don't know what's going on. All right. Staying balanced between past, present, future. Yeah. Today I actually commented, there was a gentleman who has some magazine article, and it said, your job or career should be more of what extension of you are, not you to the job. And I said, let me tell you why I disagree. I said, okay, you see, if you're speaking to young people or people in general, this has to be clearly defined at what level you are in. I had a conversation with a mother. We were talking about this earlier last night, where I was explaining to her the stages of raising children, the hero stage, the demonizing stage, right?
I may be in that one. I'm not quite sure.
Maybe next door.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea. It wasn't on my soundboard.
I'm looking around like, that's kind of a weird sound effect, Donnie. Okay. Hero stage, demonizing stage, and then what? Humanizing stage. I'm explaining to her, listen, you're going to be okay. I'm not going to get into that, but here's what I got out of that really plays a piece here is we look at our past and we start to hold on to the mistakes that, literally what I should have done, what I could have done, what I didn't do. This is really important at this time of the year too. And I talked about this last week, but we're getting ready to move forward. The goals you set that maybe you failed, maybe you got to them and then fell off of them before the end of the year, before the goal. Those are even harder. I believe that those are even harder to take than I didn't get to it, because you already didn't get to it prior, right? And so now all of a sudden you got it and then you fell back. I'm sure you see this with women.
Oh my gosh. This is like every woman I talk to, right?
Okay, so now we're sitting here saying, I'm going to live in the past and this past is going to destroy me. It's going to eat me up. Yeah. Or I'm so worried about the future. I'm so worried about the future that I'm not making the decisions that I need right now to get to where I really need to be. And so I'm speaking to this gentleman. I said, let me tell you why I disagree with this comment. And that is because it is in our journey as I'm taking a path. For me, if I got to a job, I'm like, this job doesn't suit me. This isn't me. Okay. Well, where was I in my life? I'm 42 today. In my life today, I'm getting a much clearer understanding of what I am supposed to be doing in direction. Okay. But I have no idea where I will be tomorrow. I know where I would like to be, but if I don't journey down this path, and if I don't deal with the things that don't fit me
and learn,
I can't grow.
Yeah. That's so good.
It's like, when we travel down there, there's an old proverb or a story, a biblical story about about the seeds that are being thrown, and some are being thrown into rocks, and some in pebbles, and some in fertile ground. How do we know how to create a fertile place for these seeds of change and innovation? You know, when I took the role in this industry and win, I never thought in my life that I would be in this industry for nearly 15 years.
Right.
I took a job as a lead tech site supervisor on a small wind farm in Charles City, Iowa, because the recession had destroyed everything we built in California. We lost our business, we lost our house, and I had to do something with my wife and 3 kids. What was I going to do? So we moved our entire family out of California into Iowa to start our life over again, literally at the bottom.
Yep.
And I was okay with that. That wasn't the job that suited me. It was what I needed and where I needed to be, what I learned, and what ground got to become turned and fertilized in that process. And every time I made a decision, I'd say, okay, I'm learning from this, and now I'm going to go ahead and try the next step.
Yep.
And it was because of everything I've done in putting myself in positions I did not want to be, but I dealt with it and I moved forward, that I grew and got a clearer understanding of where I was supposed to be.
Absolutely.
So this is why I disagreed with that statement. I get it, but that is such a specific statement that can only be made to a person at a certain point in their life, and it's not a general statement.
Yeah. And
that's
so,
my opinion. Agree, disagree?
Well, so here's kind of what once again, Michelle's going straight to heaven because you moved your whole family, freaking out, lost the house, like jewels in her crown, going straight to heaven.
Oh, girl,
right?
I didn't want to get into this. It'll be a chapter in the book. We had $48. We had $48 in the bank account.
And listen, what a powerful, and I know that's another point that we're going to talk about later, but what a powerful moment for you to come back to. But let's stay on because you and I can get distracted. Let's stay on the idea of past, current, and present. So here's what I love to share with my mamas. When you are feeling depression and sadness, you are living in the past. When you are feeling anxiety and fear, you are living too far in the future. When you feel peace in your heart and in your mind about your next step, it's because you are living in the present, and the present will deliver joy and it will deliver your next step. So when we live in the future, we are living in fear and anxiety and the what ifs. And we know what that does not do is it doesn't provide the next step. And when we are living in the past, we can't even see the next step. It's not even available to us because we are depressed and sad. So wherever you are, whatever job you are in, be present in that, learn what needs to be learned so that you can take step 2 and then step 3 and then step 4. And that's how we find our way to what it is we're supposed to be doing and where it is that we're going. Oh, you're muted. Rigo, I can't hear you.
I did it again.
It's all right.
It's exactly it, Krista. This is why the importance of understanding how to stay balanced. Listen, I was talking to my son about this last night. It's a pendulum.
Oh, totally.
Right. And so when you think of it as a pendulum, like the whole goal is to get the pendulum to be centered, and then, oops, I got bumped. What happens? The pendulum swings a little bit. Maybe you fall over. That pendulum is now swinging like crazy. There are moments and times in our lives where this balance is going to be difficult, but this comes back to other areas. Okay, I need mentorship. I need to find someone else to mentor. I need to go study others.
And it's a great time. It's a great time for you to go, who am I in this moment?
Yes.
That will develop your brand. That continues to sharpen your brand. When the pendulum swings just a little bit, it is a moment to stop and reflect and go, what does this mean for me? Who am I? What am I doing? What is this feeling? And then it adjusts your brand. And if you can't figure out that brand moment or that learning moment, that's where the mentor comes in. I'm having a hard time seeing what this means. Can you help me?
It's awesome. Okay. We got 3 of boom. We know what we need, Donnie. Hey, can you give me a little bit of increased audio in my headset, please? We need like sound effects. That's like mic drop.
We can do our own.
Yeah, we'll do one.
Beatbox.
I'm not dropping this like you said on one of our other calls. I ain't dropping this mic.
No, I'll drop mine. Mine's fine.
No way, Jose. Okay, listen. All right, Krista. So thank you, first off. And if you guys like what, you know what? I don't think we give Krista a round of applause. Let's give Krista a round of applause. All right, listen, I am so grateful, Krista, that you have agreed to be a part of this as we get through the series. You guys that are watching, if you like what Krista has to say, first off, do me a favor, follow her here on LinkedIn. She's entering into a new world here with LinkedIn.
I am.
But do me a favor, we'll drop it in the comments. Erica, if you can, let's put in her information and get to know a little bit more about her company, K-More. Macros. Yeah, I always forget that part. Yeah. But here's what I love the most about who she is this woman believes to the core of who she is that helping and developing somebody from the inside out is the power to change everything. And so I see this in her coaching. I see this in her attitude and her behavior and what she is sharing with others. I'm so grateful, Krista, for you to be here. I'm so excited for you, the audience, to get to hear more about this as well. We will drop her information. Please connect with her, follow her, and check out her company. Get to know more about it. These aren't plugs, but I'm proud of the people that I get to be on the show with, and I'm proud of what they do, and I'm always going to promote that. You guys know that about me. Yeah. Next week, Jared Waller will be our keynote. Krista, I am so excited for you to meet Jared.
I can't wait.
We've known each other for quite a long time, and it was really hard for me when he said he would be happy to be a part of it, and he told me which week he was going to do. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I really wanted him to be here for number 2. But that's okay. I've watched this particular gentleman literally be under a mentorship program, and I've watched how he has grown and helped others grow, and and how he's progressed in his career in our industry. If you know Jared Waller, and so I'm really pumped about having him and the wisdom that he shares. He and I enjoy those conversations constantly with each other. All right. So we're going to be going over next week. We're going to be going over keeping it super simple, which I'm really excited about. The question, everything's what the small stuff. We're going to quickly go through the 24-hour rule. That's not that difficult. And then we're really going to get into how, when in bad times, like in the moment when our pendulum is unbalanced, this is the greatest time for us to reinvent and innovate. This is when we can do it. Now, the best thing is, how do we prepare ourselves for that? Because one of the things I heard, it was from a speaker years ago, life is a ship in the ocean. Never forget this. You are going to either be in a storm, you are either getting out of a storm, or preparing for a storm. It is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And the more we prepare ourselves, the better we're going to get through and the less damage that's going to happen. It's just not it's never going to happen. It is. It's just, how well are you going to be ready for that opportunity, because that time will come. And so I'm really excited to get more into that. Now, again, remember, you guys, do me a favor. If you were watching, please drop a hashtag live. If you are watching this as on a replay later on, drop a hashtag replay. Let us know. Make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're really going to start pushing and driving our MW Partners YouTube channel. We have a lot of content that we're putting together. And what we're finding is truthfully, when it comes to video content training, I was never intended to try to build up a YouTube channel. It is absolutely the best place for us to put that content and make it available for you to see. There's already some training videos there. If you want to go back and watch past shows, our past shows are there. We're still getting it together. We're not like YouTube experts whatsoever. So make no mistake, you're not going to be like, wow, this YouTube channel is so great. Listen, we're just dumping stuff there right now. We're going to get better at it. I promise. But if you like this, if you like what we're doing, let us know. Please let us know. I hope to see you back next week. Again, Krista, you'll be here, right?
Yep, I can't wait. Yep, I'm ready.
Awesome. So Krista will be here again. Like I said, Jared Wallard, I believe we have one more guest. You may know who this person is. Krista may not. So we'll see how that goes. And then we'll go from there. And we're going to be announcing this stuff over today and over the rest of the week. And we'll start getting them booked out and the events booked out. Listen, you guys, I'm so grateful for you guys to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you, Krista. I hope you enjoyed our Lunch Talk episode today. And as we move forward with our new series of Contagious Leadership, I hope you guys continue to join. Please like, share, let other people know about this. We really want to get this information out. And if you get through this, at the end, I promise we have something very special for you that we're giving you guys for free that I hope will build you up. All right, Donnie, let's get us out of here. Thank you very much, guys. We'll talk to you later.